Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning. Well, I sound a little better, I think. Do I sound better? You guys let me know. I'm gonna get the links first because I keep forgetting to do that. Oh, you know what? That's Chrome. We don't want that. Where's Brave? Oh my gosh. Oh, that's interesting. My virus scanner seems to think that Brave is a virus. I'm gonna have to investigate that. Well, this is gonna take a little bit more time because of that.
Eco. And
Okay, so what do we got going on here? Bitcoin did start looking down a little bit, but it didn't really go. Treasuries we took a really good dive yesterday and got back to 15 overnight. And this actually kind of looks like another good short setup. And what do we got going on for news? Okay, we got PPI today. So that's a very important number in 30 minutes. So that kind of settles that. Yep. PPI. Okay, so PPI is going to come out. I think we could have another push lower based on the location and everything, but we'll see. I'm going to eat a few bites here. I just got a little bit of food left, and then we'll... Oh, where's E-mini? E-mini had a pretty good close yesterday, but Nike did not go up into the close. This is kind of interesting. So... see if the E-mini can turn it around. We get a good move today that could be super positive. All right, I will mute this for a bit. All right, let's make sure our squawk is on. Yep, by the way, how is the volume? Because I modified my microphone a little bit because I felt like we were just getting way too much reflections off of the back wall here. So So we got 10 votes on my poll about whether Obama or Trump was responsible for the economy. And 30% said Obama, 30% said Trump, and 40% said neither. So it's kind of an interesting result, but I think that that's probably about right for traders. I would personally argue that one of the main reasons why the economy is doing so well is because money is repatriating from overseas. But so I would have to lean towards Trump, but I mean, really, when you think about it, it's not necessarily Trump that's causing it. It's the people that's bringing the money back, right? We're gonna get a poll here. You know what? I do sound better. I sound a lot better. So last night I was like, oh my gosh, my cheeks. It was like right up in here. It hurt so bad, and so I finally broke down and took an ibuprofen, which I don't like doing, but and I went right to sleep. And now I woke up this morning and I felt a lot better. Not perfect by any means, but get rid of that. And that. I think most people think trading as a business is the guy with his laptop on the beach, when in fact it's more akin to burning alive without legs, screaming, "I hate you." Yeah, it's more a gulag than a vacation. Well, it's hard. Okay. So my live squawk is not giving me
0.3%. This
There
again,
we go.
US PPI coming in at minus 0.1% month to month. Year-on-year figure at 2.8%.
Oh.
April reading month to month at minus 0.1%. Year-on-year at 2.3% again. Ex-food energy and trade coming in at 0.1% month to month, while year-on-year at 2.9%. While Canadian capacity utilization 85.5%. Full expected 86.9%. Power price to be 83.6%.
Well, that's really bad. So we actually had some deflation. That's really bad, guys. I'm just seeing where the big numbers are showing up here. The 10-year definitely showing some stuff.
Also got the price pricing. Powerful. Expected. Month-to-month prices 1.2%.
Well, I don't want to buy 14.5. That seems like a chippy choppy spot, you know. Especially when you look at it from yesterday. I mean, you zoom in here. That was kind of like, yeah, 15 up to 17.5. There's a step in the profile on 17.5. Oh, let's pop down in here so we can hear these guys too. Good morning. Good morning. Okay. I don't think I want this anymore. If this turns from a head cold into a bad cough, I'm gonna be super pissed. Yeah, this is a very rare miss. This is not a good... That's kind of interesting, like we saw all of that action. Hold on, I'm gonna blow my nose. Anyways, okay, there, took it. That's the only... Well, we got crude oil. We got the bond auction. We got the beige book today. The 5-year has not come back at all, almost at all. Here, Heidi.
Beijing is widening its retaliation against the US trade tariffs.
There you go. I don't know. Okay. So that actually thickened up on the tick down. So it's one tick above the big number. It's in the right location for the pullback. We seem to have news that should push us up.
China's not accepting license applications. That was reported yesterday. China would companies trade threats.
Kind of, they're talking about trade threats again. It just kind of looks like a risk off day to me. So, the trade is definitely within the bounds of the strategy. That doesn't mean that we should just ignore if anything comes in and is not in our favor. My bias is along above 06 in the CP. I'm being cautious. Well, it's at 06 now. Okay, uptick. Oh, very nice, very nice. The 5-year ticked up.
Kind of want to see 10-year trend up and test the upper end of this week's range, or at the very least just get up that low volume node of 19.5 through 17.5. But the weekly VWAP is 119.16. So, I mean, and then that being a strike price, it's going to be tough to get there.
There you go. Should Okay. So the 5-year and the 10-year are both had pretty solid upticks there, but not the 30. This one might get weird because based on the inflation being negative unexpectedly, you might get a little bit of steepening here, and you can see the 5 and the 10 are moving up and the 30 is barely moved. So it's going to be like the exact opposite of what we've been seeing the past few weeks. Okay, so sure enough, 2 ticks out, there's some absorption. There's a lot of size above us in the 30-year.
Equity news.
There's definitely some steepening going on in here.
From the CFO from Citigroup, seeing the third quarter
Okay.
fixed income trading revenue slightly higher this year on year. Quarterly investment banking revenue likely to be slightly low.
Trade down, and it still seems like they want it. I feel a tad sleepy. Just a little sleepy. Well, it would be a little bit unusual to get like a gap like that and then reverse immediately back. And we are getting some pretty substantial buy support at 13.5. That's now been a good 8,000 or so that have traded into 13.5. Maybe intentionally weak, in fact. I can't get over a looming sell side bias since rates seem to be moving in the 30-year over last week. Yeah. That's my big flash and red signal, though, is that the 30-year is not moving up. It says to me that we are steepening. Okay, look at the 5-year. Take that 26.5. push us back up very easily. I think these weak bids in some of these areas are suspicious too. Okay. Well, the 5-year did tick down through it. And the 10-year seemed that like it's weak, but then there's way more there than there should be. I can still buy if the day calls for it. I'm just keeping these little things in the back of my mind. Well, totally. It's just
really strong offers. Bids are pretty tough too, but that one offer, 15, budging.
Yeah, well, we haven't ticked up to it yet, but it looks awfully suspicious to me, man.
Yeah, they don't, but it's like they don't even pull any off of it whenever they, well, they pull about 200 lots off whenever they pick up, or whenever 14 goes bid. But
Has 14 gone bid? 14 half gone bid yet, though? I guess maybe it's... No, they've just touched it. I think we'll get it. I think we'll get another tick up here, and then we'll see.
traded. Fund is grinding higher. Value area high. Test highs again.
Oh, sleepy. I wonder if that ibuprofen is still working on me. I don't know. It's really weird to have gone to sleep with just so much pain here in my sinus, and it's just magically gone when I woke up. Okay. That wasn't anything unusual. Yeah, I might shows 625 pulled, which is actually kind of a little under what you would normally see. Okay, a little bit more pulled that time, but I don't know, given the context, I really strongly feel that we could push through it up to 17.5, but that is not budging.
This is we're heading into the US session. Yeah, moving on the 11th today.
Or have traded now and they're kind of back.
And it's not like they're not getting a strong bid there either. Well, they're all lined up really well to have some sort of a stop run if they wanted to do it.
You get yesterday's pit high at 18. VWAP at 16.
So the next thing,
Obviously 15.
next thing I'm watching for is any kind of absorption on the bid. Okay, not that time. 20 is not enough. Okay, now it's.
Oh man, they stacked that bid up bigger than, I mean, that offer.
Oh man.
They did a really crazy thing this morning, on 6:30 in the 10-year. It was weird. It was right here at 14, and they were fixing to sell the 14 bid like for a week, and then somebody literally flashed 10,000 lots because it went from like 3,000 or 2,000 something like that all the way up to 13K, and it caused them to immediately lift the offer for a second, and then they immediately pulled it and it slammed back down. It was right before. Remember that news headline that I think it was Italy or something like that. Anyway, but it was weird. I wish I had got it on video.
Oh yeah, that would definitely belong in my suspicious market behavior thread on futures.io.
Yeah, it was literally 10,000 because it just flashed up to 13K for about a half a second. Scared price up.
That breakthrough the liquidity lower yesterday, I thought was a little suspicious. I'm not sure if it was somebody was just spectacularly wrong yesterday or if it was all a setup. But man, they just, when they fell through that wall, it was crazy. I don't know, guys. It's almost 10,000 at 15. That's not normal. And it's unnecessary. I really find this 9K at 15 to be highly suspicious. Very highly suspicious. You had the biggest miss in PPI I think I personally have ever seen. Well, that one was a lure if I ever seen one at 14. So now we're getting lures at 14. They didn't do the one tick level break trade, but no, they're doing kind of fishy stuff here at 14 and 14.5. Because this pulled for a moment and then when they hit it, it almost immediately stacked up more. Like it was 2,000, they sold it and then they put up more. This flips. There you go. Just as I say it, you can hit it. Yep. Okay.
$13,000 and a half offer last. We're averaging 17,000 contracts per 5-minute interval last 30 minutes.
And equity news as we close in towards the US cash
Okay.
Same time also around the 111.30 level, 111.50 or so levels seen at.
It's not budging. We're not building a huge bid here at 14.5. This is not ticking up. This is not ticking up. This doesn't make sense to me. Why hold such a huge wall after that kind of news in that location?
In case you heard earlier that the ECB, of course, tomorrow with its monetary policy, reportedly going to lower its growth forecasts, blaming softer global demand, whereas it will keep its inflation outlook unchanged. In equity news, as much as Apple comes in focus today, given the iPhone launch later on. Thanks.
Okay, now it's pulling.
As well as we heard from Citigroup's CFO, for higher revenue for the third quarter. That's often a division focused upon for investors. And we are seeing shares of the likes of JP Morgan and Goldman also trading up in markets. So that's one to watch.
Only 647 have traded into it, but they've pulled over 4,000 now. And these two have not ticked up yet either. See that? If the 5-year ticks up, then we might see the fun. The pull. Okay, well, it was 4,000 at one point. They've gotten back to 6.
We're gonna need more to get committed there, though.
The 5 and 30 haven't ticked up. Maybe if they decide to tick up 27, but at the moment it doesn't look like they're going to do it. Should have had these orders up here in the first the whole time. Okay. Doing the dance still. 5-year ticks back up. Doubt that holds. Suppose anything's possible though. Okay, that was a good take. Now if we can get the 5-year to tick up again. Come on, 5-year. Okay, well now it's a 705. So I might just take the 3 here. Yep. Hold on.
In fixed income, we're seeing Italian bond yields continue their rise now, up around 5 to 8 basis points across the.
Okay, they're hitting it in the 5-year. Nope. I mean, they hit it, but then it thickened back up. And this, especially in the 30-year, still looks weak. Okay, they absorbed a good hit there, 1281. And so did the 30-year. This is a tough call, but I think I gotta take it. Yep. Okay. I don't know. Okay, so you guys have been chatting a lot here. What you got here? But a 13 half and sold 14. Maybe could have been more patient. Well, not bad. I got 13 to 14 half. Now that I'm out, they might actually push through. Well, of course, now that I'm out, they might actually break it.
Decent opportunity in the 30 year if they do decide to break it. 30 year kind of ticked off the high pretty good.
Ah, good question. Private question though, so I'm just gonna answer it privately.
It's an equity news seeing shares of Alstom rising 5% in a volume spike. Just looking into that for you.
Bund is testing highs again. Looks like the Bund kind of wants to drift up to this 82 level where they got wrap load offered times any other level.
Yeah, that's pretty classic. Well, they didn't continue through it though, did they? That's kind of an interesting reaction there.
Post an eighth. Boom, they just sold it.
You really want to see that bid stay firm and people immediately hitting into 15 half, and they didn't do that. So that is not necessarily a good signal there.
Yeah, because they came right off of it in the Bund as well. They traded 10 into 79 and then they ripped it down like 5 ticks.
In the commodity space, looking at WTI October futures, are trading above the $70 a barrel region, 70.28 odd, the highest in a week, back of further concerns on high prices, as well as the API data yesterday night, which showed a larger than expected crude. Of course, that's all ahead of today's DOE number.
142.12 is the 30-year.
Well, they've done it twice now.
Equity news hearing from Riley on Alcoa, raising the stance on the company to buy from neutral, raising the price target $50 from 48.
Last minute video says, I think it's time to break friendship from cryptos and the ones that told me about it to invest. Well, cryptos sure ain't doing so hot lately, are they? Okay, that's a buy. So that was a little bit better. I'm not so sure that I want to jump in on this though. Obviously, I was like, okay, 15 high of day, and then after that 17 half. But
this is also, if you look at the daily profiles, market profile, the bund. This is like a really natural distance level. I mean, you could probably say the same for Dplex too. We're getting into that low point.
Yeah. Well, this is where we had trouble getting above this yesterday, right? After that big move down.
Yes.
So anyways, what were they saying here? I traded Forex for 10 years, and every friend who came to me about cryptos, I told them not to mess with that. Yeah. A friend of mine came to me telling me to invest when Bitcoin was at the 20K area. I told him I just read an article.
Blackstone planning a $3.5 billion joint Santander headquarters bid, according to exciting source.
I told him I just read an article that day about people mortgaging their houses to buy Bitcoin. That's because it's a good investment. I said, no, that means it's going to crash. Yeah. This is a slow grind. I mean, so what do you guys think? Because there's kind of a the disconnect there, you know, like, so anytime that I get +3, I gotta be thinking maybe I need to take it off. Okay. Anytime that I get a big wall there, I'm thinking maybe I need to take it off. But when I see that there are targets above me, and I really think that that 17.5 is a good target, you know, we should continue through it. And we have a what is the word that I'm looking for? A driver, right? Which is the weak inflation. So that's why I held it for so long. But when it didn't go and I saw the way that it was acting, I said, okay, I guess I take +3. So I take +3, and it just kind of ranges around a little bit, and then it goes right through the 15, like, no big deal, almost, really. I mean, I think it was 5K traded there, right? I don't know. It wasn't huge. Now, this action I'm seeing right here, right now, is not super, what's the word? I'm not so sure that they push much further here or not. But I don't like the time. Like, I don't think I want to take another trade for like another 30 minutes. Anyways, so cryptos, because you guys are talking about it, and there's quite a few of y'all's in here. Oh, how come I'm not, you know what, we gotta, I'm not in the live thing, so I can't see, it's like the numbers and stuff. There we go. Now we do got a decent number of people here today too. So here's the thing about cryptos right now that I find really weird. Okay, so if you've been following me, you know that I believe that the Bitcoin market is still overvalued, and that fair value would be somewhere around 2,000 to 3,000 right now. So we're still very highly valued, and so when we had these moves up earlier, like up to 7,400 and everything, I was like, well, we're going to go back down. And of course we did, but we have not yet broken the 6,000 level, which is, it's just been really big support for a very, very long time. But Bitcoin transactions are going down, and so therefore, because adoption is going down, I think we really can't push up much higher, and we are eventually going to fail 6,000. That's my prediction. But in this location, the amount of good news I am reading is unreal. It's crazy. Every day I read something that if this was, you know, October, November, would have pushed Bitcoin up $5,000. You know what I mean? So the really good news yesterday was that the Gemini exchange started a stable token on Ethereum. So we could get away from the Tether, and it's run by a US based company, and it's transparent and like regulatory safe and everything like that, because it's being run by Gemini. That's really, really good news. Super good news. And it doesn't budge. You know what I mean? When you get really good news and a market doesn't go higher, that's a big warning. Because what that says to me is that all of the buyers are already in. The amount of good news we were reading up near 20K was ridiculous too. Yeah, although back then, and even, you know, I don't really remember what was going on back up at the 20K. It was just the futures. I just remember, you know what? These futures are going to go live. That one was weird. So go back and watch my videos about like because I made 2 videos about the futures, right? And in my mind, I was like, well, what I think we're going to see is there's going to be an initial bout of buying, and hold on. Anyways, I thought, you know, we'd have a little bit of a push up, and then that would be the end of it. That's what I thought, because my indicator said that we were a crash imminent. But when I made those videos, I didn't want to just outright say that. Because one, like, that's a super bold prediction, and we still were kind of new with the indicator. The indicator had only been around since October. And I knew that it would piss people off if I said that. And I knew that it was just not wise to try and make that direct, you know, that kind of a prediction that, oh, the futures are going to make Bitcoin go down. But in retrospect now, right, the release of the futures just seems like a no-duh thing. Everybody was buying it because the futures were going to go live. Once the futures go live, that turns it into a sell the news event, right? Now at 10K, I remember there was, man, and actually I don't remember the specific stories, but remember us sitting in chat? Like you can scroll up, it's not that far back, you can go back and chat and read it and then be like, okay, look, here's this piece of really good news and here's this piece of really good news, but the indicator says that it's going to stop here.
It says doing the right thing, gradually moving accommodation. Good morning, good afternoon. I suppose.
Well, based on this action, I'm going to have to say that that huge size that we saw initially at 15 was probably the real deal, because we've traded more than 17,000 contracts into it now. Cryptocurrencies played the role of the perfect wealth transfer mechanism for unsophisticated investors, especially techies and futurists. They're optimistic about everything. Yeah. Yep. I hear you, Uzi. I mean, it's just so weird to me. It just seems so obvious at the time. I mean, I don't want to say so obvious, but I was saying it's going to go down, and right now I'm still saying that it's going to go down. And to me, it's like, I know what is going to happen. Like, I look at this thing and it's like, guys, there's no other way that this can play out. Like, you have to have something like really, and the thing that yeah, my opinions about cryptos aren't popular.
Voter last year, voter this year, and voter next.
If I didn't have this evaluation model that I've been using,
oh, sorry, he's retiring in 2018.
Oh, he's retiring.
Now.
Oh, deadly.
If he's mid 2018. But yeah, Dudley on the wise there, so we'll keep one eye on what he's voter this.
Anyways, what was I saying? You know, I have this evaluation model to lean on, and of course, the model can be wrong. There could always be a piece of good news that comes through. It instantaneously, dramatically increases the amount of use on the blockchain and moves us up, and I would be dead wrong, and sooner or later that's going to happen to the indicator. I think it's going to be wrong about something. But from where it stands right now, I look at it and there's no other way it can play. There's almost no other way that it can play out, guys. Like, there's too many longs, and you get that kind of good news and it doesn't bring new people into the market. That means that almost they're out of money, right? They've bought everything that they've got at 6,000, and they're gonna get screwed, man. That's how I see it. So I don't know. It's just, and I tell you another thing. Having this evaluation indicator that I'm just so confident about now, because really, it called the top, it called the first bottom, and then it called the 10,000K top that we had, like in what, July or whatever, you know. and now it's predicting that it's going to go lower. If we do go down to 2000, then like we've been saying, that's when I have to write a book, because because if it goes down to 2000 and then we buy and we make money, we have to write a book about it, because that's history, man. That is the, oh, look at that, 10K at 14.5.
Like,
What the heck?
sold at a
It was all small orders, but it was just all at once. So that's got to be an institution of some sort selling it there.
yeah.
It's more likely to be somebody that would use a big bank, so like a fund or the bank itself. What was I saying? Oh, right. But so the thing is I'm so confident in the indicator, and it colors everything that I see in Bitcoin, and because I can see that, you kind of gives you an idea of how it goes both ways, or like how the signals can go both ways, if that makes sense, right? So like when we're sitting here and we're watching it and we're like, well, 10,000 sold into 14.5 here in the 10-year. Are we going to move down? Or is this guy with the iceberg going to win and we're going to break new highs? Well, if we had the valuation indicator and we could plug in that PPI and say, okay, based off of this, we should move up to 119.17.5. And somebody might have that. I'm sure that I know the banks definitely have models that tell them those sorts of things, but it's not quite that precise, probably. Then you know, it's like, somebody's initiating a trade there and he's going to win, versus this is a trick and the guy on the iceberg is going to win, right? And you can see it in Bitcoin, because it's like, I will see these kind of moves like this, and I don't think that it would be a good trade, because it's just so random, and the big moves can come out of nowhere whenever. But on the longer term action, we are able to call it in that chat channel probably 60-70% of the time. And so it kind of gives you an idea, if you're trading over here in the Treasuries, you know, the edge in trading Treasuries, you can definitely do it and make money, but the edge is not a huge edge, because it's almost impossible most cases to really know what the big guys want to do with it. To really know, you know? Every once in a while they give you a really obvious one, like yesterday, but well, or even I would say that one that I bought at 13, was it that I bought? Yeah, because I took it off at 14.5. That one looked obvious to me as well. Like it fit my strategy and everything else that was going on. Yeah, so the offer at 142.12, 17.77. That one is not as suspicious to me, because we already had a big number like that in the 10-year, and it's holding, you know. And yeah, well, the E-mini's going now. They're buying it. Ooh, buy that. Anyways, you know what? Another thing, because I'm just yapping. We got another 10 minutes before I really want to do something, and because he got me thinking, I think that I was just so sick yesterday, and now I'm catching up for lost time. Something that really bothers me. This is like a totally different subject, by the way, guys. Something that really bothers me is people's insistence on hearing what they expect. You know what I mean? Like if I go on Reddit and I post something, and everybody posts stuff to get points, and the stuff that people know that they're gonna upvote. And my thought is like, why even bother? Like, why post the stuff that everybody expects to hear and somebody else is going to say anyways? It makes zero sense to me. Why? That's not value added, you know? You should be looking to say the things that nobody else is saying, that expand people's understanding or alert them to possibilities that they haven't thought about yet. And it's totally that way in the crypto sphere as well. Like on that Bitcoin subreddit, they are deleting thousands and thousands of comments every month to maintain a certain narrative. And it's like, why not just let people say what they want? But there's this attitude nowadays that it's like, well, if somebody doesn't say what I want, that's false information, and we shouldn't allow that. It needs to be stopped. That's dangerous thinking, Seth. Wrong think will get you banned. Right. You're gonna get deplatformed. My gosh. So yesterday, if you guys haven't watched the video that I posted yesterday, I was really bothered by some of the stuff I'm seeing in the media about Nike, because they make a big deal over whether shares are up or down. And when you look at it in the historical context of Nike, the action that we've seen in the past 2 weeks in Nike is pretty run-of-the-mill Nike stuff. Like, it moves 3% in a day all the time, and it's quite volatile stock. And it just doesn't look like, even though traders definitely sold it down, it wasn't a huge deal. And the first thing that somebody came in and said was it came in and accused me of racism, because I do say in the video that I'm personally not a fan of him. I said, like, I'm not a fan of him, but I'm not 100% sure that this is going to be such a big deal that it's worth taking a trade on. And let me just be clear about what I think about. I'm not a fan of Colin Kaepernick, not necessarily because he doesn't stand for the flag, although I do think that if you're going to do protests, I think he could do some real good, you know, if you did it the right way. You know, like, why aren't they organizing a march in Washington? You know, you could go in and say, hey, look, cops are not necessarily the problem, but there's definitely some problems in the system that we need to fix, and we need to have
that interest rates are currently restrictive. Inflation surge unlikely, fake money version, slightly up recession risk.
Yeah. Oh, look, he thinks just like all other economists. Anyways, you know, have a march and get rid of the enmity, because there's definitely some enmity going on here between people. Like, a bunch of people view Colin Kaepernick as the enemy or Black Lives Matter as the enemy, and there are other people that view police as the enemy. And anytime you see enmity, guys, that's a red flag. But you know, he chose to protest that way. That's his right. So I'm not going to make a huge deal out of that. But the thing that bothers me is he's a communist, guys. He's a commie. Come on. Like, he come up on stage and he's wearing like a Fidel Castro t-shirt. And Nike's gonna make this guy the spokesperson for their company. So, you know, I know it's a controversial thing, but this is the thing that out there that I'm not seeing is he's a communist. Anyways,
I'm leaning short. Like I feel like ES is tested a little bit down here, and it's not gonna move. Just don't see it moving down. Just purely technical standpoint.
who is he?
I'm leaning to get short the 10-year, but I don't know.
It's so easy to be a communist when you're rich.
Euro stocks are above VWAP, so I mean, not like Euro stocks have had a bad session.
I was thinking, I don't know.
DAX has had a good session too.
Yeah, it's a little. I would have thought that they would have done something by now, but like, there's that huge iceberg down below that. Oh, he wears is he communist? He wears a Fidel Castro t-shirt. So that's my problem with them. Like so it goes beyond just Colin Kaepernick, because here's my understanding of this guy. He has a girlfriend who is I think that his girlfriend is Muslim, and the girlfriend and Linda Sarsour, who is this, if you're not familiar with her, she's the person that organized the Women's March in DC. And she's Muslim, but very what's the word, like she supports Sharia law in the United States, but she's very liberal, and so they're kind of buddies, you know, and that was kind of what introduced him or got him more into kind of the political stuff, you know. So then he gets on the Black Lives Matter ship, which it really kind of bothers me, because I really think that there's a real problem over there, as I think most people do, and I don't think it's just a race issue. I think that there are problems with the power that police have in this country, you know. And there has definitely been some abuse there, and it does appear to me, even though black people aren't more likely to be killed.
2,000 bid at 07 in the 30-year.
Oh yeah, I see that. We're just gonna wait and see what happens, because I don't know which way it's gonna go, but when one of these pulls, we could take a trade.
Statement from Senate Committee set to hold a hearing then on data privacy with testimony from Amazon, Apple, Alphabet, Twitter, and AT&T. Say in a statement.
Anyways,
Those
ooh.
thanks on the open. Thanks Twitter and AT&T, Amazon, Alphabet, Apple, Alphabet.
Oh, it moved down. That's that. I think that what's going on there is you tend to have the robots 2 or 3 ticks out, and so that was 1,000 anyways. But then this spreader guy that pops up around the E-mini time frame has his spread trade on, and that's what that is down there, because you can see the other side of it at 28 in the 5-year. So I think we have to, well.
Oh yeah, I just noticed that.
And I've noticed that the market has a tendency, it's random which direction it moves, but when that guy shows up, the market has a tendency to start moving. Anyways.
They've got big orders parked all over the place.
Yeah.
And there's now a big offer at 12. The big bid at, or that's 12 in the 30-year, and then a big bid at 12 in the 10-year.
There's a lot of things about this trade that makes me not want to take it yet, but I want to FOMO in.
Or larger. I mean, it's not huge, but.
Okay, so you gotta finish the thought. So I think that there's definitely a lot of problems there, but the thing that bothers me about it is that the Black Lives Matter organizations came together and they said, well, let's draft up, like a series of proposals, and there's a website out there where you can read what it was that they wanted, and this was like, because Black Lives Matter is decentralized, obviously, right? Like dozens and dozens of organizations, but some of the most prominent organizations got together and they made like a manifesto of sorts, and it's fucking communism. Like it's literally like, well, we need to implement communism for minorities, is what it is, and it's like they're using this completely unrelated issue to push communism. And Colin Kaepernick, it seems to be like right in line with all of that. He's wearing a Fidel Castro t-shirt and all of these other things, and that's why people say that it's like it's racist. That has nothing to do with that. It's just I don't like communism.
$1. Like 10 minutes. Real size.
Yeah. Oh, Fib Future says Sharia law is not liberal. Well, I mean, I guess I kind of see your point, but certainly conservatives are more bothered by somebody that supports Sharia law than liberals are, right?
Since the Brexit rounds, and just be aware. I mean, this is something like this was just note at 45 minutes. I was suggesting that secret government emergency meetings over Brexit have been held meeting on Cobra. To plan for a no deal.
I wouldn't even trade any into that 12 offer in the.
I'm seeing a lot of reasons to want to be long right now, but I don't see a spot to be safely getting in. Well, that might be it right there.
Yeah, it seems like 14.5 is the spot to kind of.
Well, maybe that 15 there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, so what was the whole point of that? So I posted that video, And I didn't really go into my feelings about Kaepernick because to me it's just kind of like, I mean, I think he's communist, but I don't think it's a huge deal, right? Because I just don't think that he deserves the attention. And the first comment on the YouTube was like, "Oh, you're racist." And I'm like, fucking get out of here, guys. Come on. Like, this is a video about markets and how to understand a move in a market based on context and looking at the historical performance of the stock and what other stocks are doing. And the first thing that you're going to do is come out and say, well, because I'm not a huge fan of Kaepernick and I didn't go into it, they say that's racist. That is just ridiculous, right? And then you got, like, this is stuff that happened to Alex Jones. It's all social justice activism is intersectional with postmodern neo-Marxism. They blame bigotry for our resistance to it, but it's really because we know what is underneath. Yeah. I mean, I think that's a valid look at it, right? So my understanding of the politics of it or the ideology of it is that they said, well, Marxism traditionally has focused on, economic equality. And
it's the thickest I've seen the book in a little while.
Yeah, it is. And that hasn't been working, so what we need to focus on is social equality. Well, that just killed Ninja Trader 8. That's interesting. Said that it was unable to decrypt something and it crashed. So there is definitely the cultural Marxism thing is definitely a thing. 100%, yep. But cultural Marxism is not quite as scary as people make it out to be, right? It's just Marxism applied to social structures instead of economic structures, right? Communism does achieve economic equality. Everyone is equally destitute. Yeah, it's just here's the thing. As man, we're getting like super political. Maybe we shouldn't do this. I don't want to get deplatformed or whatever the deal is, but. It's just, I like America, okay? Like, this is the thing that now I'm gonna really get passionate here because this is like my biggest pet peeve with these days. So, right? If you want to live a comfortable life, okay, where you can kind of try some things, but if it doesn't really work out, there's a big support structure and you can have a lot of leisure time and time to be with your family and have fun and things like that. America is not for you. Like, I'm not even kidding. Seriously, go live in Denmark, because that's what Denmark is, and you would have a lot of leisure time and you would be more happy. Well, that was a really big tick up. You would be more happy in Denmark. That is not what America is. America is, I want to be fucking rich, right? America is the place where there's all the freedom in the world, and there's nothing there to catch you. We're not here to be like, to chill and everything like that. We're here to make it big, and America is the only place in the world that does that. Now, the disadvantage of that is that there is a lot of risk involved with that, right? But that's America. It seems to me that the new generation of kids, people that are in high school now and are like in their mid-20s, don't seem to understand that about America, right? Their lives have been too comfortable when they were raised as a kid, and they don't understand that America is structured in a way so that there's no limit on how successful you can be. You know what I mean? I'm doubtful that some morbidly obese feminist with purple hair who identifies as a sea urchin is going to stumble across a video about bonds and report it. But yeah, I hope. You know what? I hope that they do come in and they learn how this works and learn how market works and that, because I mean, trading changes your view on things, right? And not all traders are liberal or conservative, right? It kind of seems to me that when you look at retail people, at least, it's pretty equal. Probably most of the professionals are liberal because they live in New York. But it definitely changes because either way, you believe in capitalism and investment. I think that's the biggest thing is investment, right? You got to invest. That the only way that you increase people's quality of life is by becoming more productive, increasing productivity. And to do that, you have to invest so that we can discover new things that increase productivity. That's how it works. And yeah, this is just like this new. So when people say, "Oh, well, I love America," and I'm kind of like, I think that you love the. Oh, hold on, it's a child grabbing the iPad. I think you like the geographic location that you were born in, and you seem to like the people that live in that geographic location. But I'm not sure that you understand what America actually is, because it kind of sounds to me like you want to get rid of the thing that makes America America. You know, does that make sense? Am I crazy? But that's kind of my rant. Like that's the thing that drives me nuts. And the way that it shows up in policy is that all of the policy prescriptions that you see nowadays are all geared towards reducing risk. It's like we can't ever let anything bad ever happen, and we're willing to give up a lot of opportunities to grow in order to prevent bad things from happening. And I'm just like, no, guys, that's not America. The reason America has been successful is because we are willing to take risks that other countries weren't. And they're trying to change it. That's like the fundamental thing I see. And then they turn around and they say, "Oh, well, we love America too. We just don't want America to be America anymore." And just, you know, and for me, it's 100% economic. Like I care about like how you regulate the banks and what the tax laws are and like policy. And then everybody turns around and they say, "Well, that's racist." And I'm like, I really don't care what people's skin color is. It never factors into the math. This is 100% math and how you grow an economy. It doesn't care. The numbers don't care what color your skin is. Sorry. It's not even a consideration. And it drives me nuts. People who think equality is absolutely the same as justice are wrong. You want that as the ultimate goal, but the way that you try to achieve it, the way you ultimately end up being unfair in some ways or another. Yep. Well, this really looks like it is pushing up, but it has not done it yet. Man, this is some pretty crazy pressure that we're seeing here, and it hasn't continued through yet.
Some are blaming the fact that the Senate hearing is of Apple and Amazon on data privacy. The reason Apple shares are down over 1.25%. I remember. We've seen some decent buying action ahead of anticipation of what we're likely to see tonight from the Apple announcement. show.
I've found it's easier to just accept the label. No. Don't do that. Oh man, come on, really? Well, there's a 10,000 up there. I don't know, man. No, so here's another pet peeve of mine. We're just going all over the map today with the politics, aren't we? I feel that the Donald Trump movement got taken advantage of by the real racists out there. I think so. Who was it? Steve Bannon, you know, when he was around, and I don't have any proof of like what he was doing. I don't know how he was doing it, but it was just like when he disappeared, this stuff stopped happening. But we came in, and I think that there was a real thing there where it was like, you know, they're calling everything racist even if it wasn't.
Guajardo now that there's a high probability US and Canada trade deal will come off. That's called Mexico.
Yeah.
Trade deal happen.
I think it's getting really thick here because of the auction. Anyways, they were calling things racist even if they weren't, and so the response that the Donald Trump supporters went for was to just not let them get away with it, right? To say, well, I'm still going to say what I think is right, even if people are going to call me names. And I think that's the right case. But what happened was we let the people that truly are racist kind of sneak in there at that point, because then it was like, well, they say that this person is racist, but maybe they really aren't. And so you had all of these racists just kind of, you know, sitting in amongst the crowd. And then that's how the Charlottesville thing happened, because like the Donald subreddit posted an announcement about that event, like they supported that event. It was stickied in the thing, and I mean, I remember reading the thread before, but it didn't like register what was actually gonna, like, I didn't know that they were gonna go down there with freaking torches, tiki torches, and walk around town, and I didn't realize who those speakers were. And why those speakers were maybe not people that, you know, you want to go to an event that are speaking at.
Back there from that recent move lower here. Again, chat. This is from Guajardo, really. Knows more than Freeland. That says there's a good chance US Canada trade deal happening.
So I really think, I don't want to say we, because I mean, I'm pretty conservative, but I'm not always 100% on board with some of the things I read there. But I really feel like that the Donald Trump movement got taken advantage of there. They were not careful, and they let real racists come in and irreparably damage both the president and that whole movement, because people said, well, they just say that about everything. Well, them sellers are not giving up here. I still think I might get my tick, but I do not like what I am seeing. So I would say if you're a conservative and you see somebody say something racist, you give it to them, because it's not okay. 100% not okay. Okay, when what they're saying is actually racist, and anytime that you see a conservative say something that could be construed as promoting or inciting violence, it's not okay. 100% not okay. and people need to step in and say something about it. Because if you don't stand up, if you kind of just look the other way, it's going to come back and screw you over in the long run. If you defend yourself against accusations when you know you didn't say something objectively racist, they accuse you further simply by virtue of denying it. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of mind reading going on around here too, right? So it's like, well, we're sure you're racist, and so now it's just like trading, right? If we know that it's going up, or if we think that it's going up, then it's almost like everything that happens, we interpret it as supporting it going up, when it may actually be the exact opposite. And it's the same with that. If you're absolutely 100% sure that Donald Trump is racist, then you're going to see racism in almost everything that he does, even if it's imagined. Even if it's imagined. So we're seeing some real buying it through here, but they're not making headway. This is where we should see the support and bust through that 9.
Block sell.
What?
Big sell.
Holy shit. And it did not bust 14.5.
And that was a massive lift at 15 that they didn't move.
So you got Moody's believes the US dollar will
And now
remain
they all
its dominant
smashed back down
global
to
reserve
14.5.
currency for the foreseeable future.
Really weird.
Bit of a free hit.
That was a 5,000 lot that went through there.
Now that report up.
Fund is kind of signaling that. Oh.
I really thought I was going to get my tick, but I did it too late. It did give it to me at one point, didn't it? Yeah. So I actually did tick into 16. Tisk. Holy shit, guys. Yeah, 10,000 by 10,000 is not something that I see every day in the current trades column.
Yeah, no lie.
I don't know. This
It's gonna smash its low.
Yeah, yes, sure
Of course, that
does.
doesn't really give us a good indication of what the hell T-Flex is going to do. It hasn't been all morning, really.
Yeah, the correlation hasn't been very good the past week or two, has it?
Yeah, it's not even like it's either positive or negative correlation. It's like it just flip-flops all the time. I mean, there's really just no correlation.
Well, that low is a pretty significant support level.
There's any plan discussed in Parliament is not likely to be either of these plans. There was talk he was more favourable RG plan. There was something out on the a couple of hours back about that, but asked about which plan was preferable. Deputy Leader of the Islands, DUP, which is a pivotal vote to get anything through, says any plan discussed in Parliament is not likely to be either of these. Bollard saying there is some run in the labour market. Or from DUP's Dodds says we'll not need infrastructure at border if checkers or free trade are agreed, or in an event of no deal.
So now the offer weakened up a little bit. Excuse me.
S&P as well as dollar weakness at the moment, softening right.
Well, Lucas made one in the 30 and one in the 10. So is this kind of action normal for the auction day? Something that I see a lot on the auction day is we'll come up to a certain level and there will be an enormous iceberg that it just absorbs everything and they're not getting through it and that's it. And I see that all the time on auction day. And I've heard people call it a rate lock.
Believes it's like several decades for the global status of the US dollar is challenged by any other currency.
So it's like they already have a bid for the auction in, and so anything that the futures move against that, it makes sense for them to fade it to hedge themselves so that they don't lose any money from when the auction happens. But this thing that it's doing now, where we had a pretty strong push up and we're like stuck between two really big orders, and we've got 10K going through on both sides, and we've got 10K on the level 2 on both sides and stuff. That is, I've never seen that. That is just bizarre. I think that the trend will continue still. That's always my bias though, so I don't think I really know. That's why I'm just gonna scratch it now. Could have gotten my one tick. I should have just taken it. Feel stupid. But I mean, who could predict this? This is just unusual. Is all I can really say about it.
Over 35 million rand paid for state contracts with the
One thing I want to point out is that
top 10 DAX stock.
the JPY appears to be having the same issues. Spread trading is fascinating, but I don't completely get it.
The damning note on UK's pound says that the status of the pound as reserve currency is based on inherited position pre-Bretton Woods colonial era, and is not relevant to the current market view.
Well, this thing right here is definitely a spread trade. Okay, he is selling the 5 and he is buying the 30. That is a flattener. But the thing is those never get touched. So I think it's like I mean, I don't really know what it is. I know that the market tends to move when we get it. And this is probably the most range bound I think I've ever seen us with that thing showing up. We need a name for him. What should we call him? I'm thinking Scott Spreader. Or Spread Trader Scott. Maybe, I don't know. Because they're TPs, bro. I mean, they're probably spoofs, but Bob. Yeah, I mean, the thing is you don't know. Maybe he's somebody trying to get out. And that would make, then what you're saying is can make sense. He's already long the 5 and he wants to get out up here. Could be. The thing is I've never actually seen them run into the order. If you're around when they close, you'll see it, like on Friday. Bob the Spreader sounds like someone I could hate. Okay, sure, we'll call him Bob the Spreader. There's Bob. So we got all the guys here, because we have Tyler come in, buying and selling 5K lots. We've got Bob the Spreader going in. The book is just super thick. Everybody's playing today, man. I just don't understand. I think we should be moving up to 17.5. The thing is that it was in the seller's if that gets filled, I don't want it. It's in the seller's ball court, or it was, and it's been sitting here an awful long time, and they didn't take it, and there was a big block sell into 14.5, and it is held. I think there is a chance that 15 could go bid, and we could attract more buyers, and there could be some puking. Because the seller has had enough time to do his thing, and he's not doing it. So I think it's time for the buyers to step in and say, okay, fine. We'll just stop you out then. But if they take it, they've got to stick a good bid on it. If they don't, I'm just selling right into it. We're now to 11K at 15.2. So typically when you start to get over 10, I don't know, when there's one on both sides, who's to say what it's going to do, right? The spreader on Friday closed both positions at the exact same second. It was cool. Huh. It's interesting. Yeah, the stuff that you see before the pit close is always amazes me. kind of interesting here. JPY is kind of, you know, they've been having a move up all morning, but you're kind of starting to get some candles with really big wicks here, so they're experiencing the same sort of a thing where they want to move up, but they're having a hard time doing it.
Ballard again says FOMC should lay down a strategy for how much yet to ultimately cut to balance sheet. Right, we are coming up to 10 minutes to the bottom of the hour here, and we'll have the EIA weekly crude stockpile data on the wires. Just to give you a note, last night we got the American Petroleum Institute report on its inventory levels, and it reported a huge draw from 8.64 million barrels of crude oil stockpiles last week. Today we're looking for, the analysts looking for a drawdown of just 805,000 barrels after last week's draw of 4.3 million barrels. As for distillates, they're seen building by 1.45 million barrels. Look at last night's distillate.
Watching the replay is always useful, because like I said, if you think it's going to go up...
API read last night, but we are looking for a build of 1.45 million barrels after last week's build of 3.12 million barrels. The range there is a draw of 2 million to a build of 3.5. As for gasoline stockpiles, they're seen building by 1.32 million barrels after last week's build of 1.845 million barrels. The range of drawdown of 500,000 to a build of 2.4. Just for those who want the range for the crude stock, draw of 4.201 million for 2 billion barrels.
See, there's always a way to explain it in your favor, right?
49,000 barrels.
No, yeah. I wish I could record all day and then I could see that sort of stuff. So right now, if you were buying, like, I think that your biggest things to reinforce here would be that it looks like the 5 year is going to tick up. That's probably your biggest one. If you're going to sell, I think you would say, well, the polling has been negative, the book has been negative. You know? And we had the big block sell, and the block sell tends to be very influential. So there's always some explanation. You can always say, well, we're going to go up, and here are all the things that support the case that we're going to go up. And then you can say, well, we're going to go down, and here are all the things that support the case for going down. And our brains are just really good at only seeing the one side. And so when you watch the replay, you know what is going to happen. And so you can kind of interpret what's going on more accurately. And so I think that that does help in accuracy to kind of see what matters and what doesn't and stuff, is watching it on replay when you know what's going to happen. So I agree with you.
Greek central bank funding to banks drops 4.49 million barrels. 4.49 billion euros rather. End of 4.84 billion July. Bank of Greece.
Well, we've been in this for a long time now. How long have we been in this for? 35 minutes. Oh, and there's the tick down.
Finally.
When that happened, bunch of selling in the 5 year. Well,
bid is still there at 07, 30-year.
I'm just gonna take it. So I'm too worried about it pulling on me. The trick to watching replays to pick random days that you don't remember. Well, I mean, sure, if you're going to practice with it, but the problem with looking at days past like that is that, you know, the context of the day is super important too. Well, I don't think it's worth taking a trade in here.
Lows in the ES.
And yeah, I think it's better to record your screen than it is to use the market replay, because the data it's not exactly the same. Those orders are awfully close now. Those orders are awfully close now. Look at this. That just sat there and did nothing for an awful long time, didn't it?
Weekly crude stockpile data. As I mentioned last night, we saw a huge draw. Crude oil inventories, 8.6 million barrels. We're expected to draw about 1 million to 800,000. We're looking for that figure stay 800,000 barrel draw.
Russell 2000 almost down.
Range 4.2 to 2, draw of 4.2 million to a build of 2. As for distillate stockpiles, they saw or expected to see a build of 1.45 million barrels after a build last week of 3.12 barrels. The range of draw of 2 million to a build of 3.1. As for pushing, that saw a build of 500,000 barrels last week. Last night, the delivery hub saw a draw of 1.2 million barrels according to API data. As for gasoline, that's it.
I don't want to hear the oil news. So the problem I'm having here is I don't understand what the case is for selling it so strongly there. Like, the E-mini's going down. We tend to move up on auction days. We had PPI data that was, you know, very weak inflation that should push us up. I don't see what the reason is for somebody to be so adamant about it not going a tick further.
Maybe the DOE data will create some kind of catalyst. Bullard said, "Don't expect next crisis to occur inside bank system."
That's interesting. Well, I suppose you could take it at 14.5.
Minutes to go now, just under a minute to go now. Crude's up around 1. A little over 10 seconds to go. Draw of 5.3 million barrels there for crude
Big draw.
stockpiles. Distillate saw a build of 6.16
Gasoline.
million barrels. I could look at Cushing then, that saw a draw of 1.242
Crude
million
was a
barrels.
draw, way
We saw gasoline
above
build by
expectation draw.
1.25 million barrels.
Or
And
below
we saw
expectation
refining
draw, I
utilization
guess is how
then
you'd
up
say it.
1%. Just to recap quickly, a draw of 5.396 crude stockpiles. We see a build of distillate of 6.163 million barrels. Gasoline saw a build of 1.5 million barrels. And we saw Cushing at their draw 1.242 million barrels. And we saw refining utilization.
Well, it's 8:30, so I don't think we take any more trades. Oh, it's the 12th.
Product imports of up 618,000 barrels in a day. The week, total product demand over the past 4 weeks, 21.48 million barrels a day. There we go. NH6 says Helen forecast to weaken over the eastern Atlantic. Interest in the Azores should monitor the progress of Helen.
You know, Helen is another reason to be moving it. What's the case for down? I don't know.
Just no production on that day for the week. 10.9 million barrels. That's a drop. 10 million barrels at a day. That level that was reached a couple of weeks back now, but back down to 10.9 million barrels a day.
Well, there would have been my scratch if I'd just been patient, but I was kind of fed up with it. That was kind of an error. So I pulled the thing because I thought that it was too big and I should have just increased it to be like under 3 or 4 or something like that. And then I thought maybe I put it back and I clicked and it sold and it was like, well, you know what, I want out of it anyways. But now I could have gotten, it would have gotten filled. So I might have to scratch that one up as a mistake. So now the question is it going to give you 14 half or 15 half? Since they're moving back up again, they could totally buy it. I don't think this makes sense though. Like, from a risk reward perspective, I think if we bought, we'd have to be at 14 half. And I don't want to sell because my bias is long. So.
Okay, so Guajardo here believes that the preliminary agreement is written as trilateral, assuming it's a NAFTA, but Guajardo of Mexico, the preliminary agreement is written as trilateral. Whether they talk about the agreements they have got through with the US, just how I believe that's what they mean, as opposed to anything done now. But it may be interpreted that way.
What's Twitter saying about this? Yep. I don't see much of anything. Well, I would like to get it back, but you know, I'm gonna stay home again today because I'm just getting. I don't know if I can even. I'm getting like chills, like not chills, but like I feel really hot right now. I feel irrationally hot. Damn you, Bob. Yeah, so there is the auction later, right? Like, I think we could get some good stuff after the auction. Probably have the auction, and then after that, we can buy it. And it'll move up. When is that? 11. Someone posted that. I'll just kind of wait for the kids to go. But yeah, I got one tick, so yay. I shouldn't have taken that trade, really. Like, when did we get in? We got in at 7:48.
The 5 years kind of moving around. Just a minute ago it was at 27 and 3/4. Now it's, oh, well, there you go. Went up to 28, and now it's back down to 27.
So this particular trade.
Struggling with 27 and 1/4 too.
This trade was initially good, and I got a tick out of it, and I should have just taken the profit on it, because we're in like super rangy action, and for me to have expected it to just bust through there on an auction day, I think was a little unreasonable. So that really should have been 1, and this should really be 4. So that really sucks, but I mean, I still got a tick, and there's opportunity later, because we will have auction in Beige Book. So I think, yeah. I think that it's okay. And we did have a pretty big mover day yesterday, so to come out today with profitable is still great, so. Dum-ba-dum-ba-dum.
Still got, as I said, it says low rates externally make it hard for investors.
I think I have to uninstall and reinstall Brave.
Florence, right? It's changed little. Southeast coast. I threaten to the Carolinas.
You know, the E-mini might have maybe turning around here. Maybe I should just use Chrome. I don't like using Chrome, but there's enough stuff that I have to do in Chrome with it.
Head out. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, I won't wait. I think we have a good opportunity when the 10-year auction happens in 2 hours. So.
Well, good luck.
Later.
Florence may strengthen again through tonight, says the NHC.
So let's just make sure that we journal this, because we haven't been. Look at that. Oh, I've been doing better than I thought. We need to go further back though, because it was not good the first week, right? Yeah. Oh, it was good that week too. But this is only up $100. Like, it's not a huge deal. So how long has this run been going on for? I know that we had some really bad weeks in August, right? Okay, so right there off of really starting the Thursday and Friday, but really more the first starting the trading week, really. So we've done good in September so far, which is what we predicted, right? That the liquidity would come back, we'd get more trending action, and we'd do better. We could have done a lot better than we've done, but that's really good. It'd be even better if we didn't have this big loser right here. And so some Mondays screws me over. Oh, you know what? That's not right. That's not right. When we stick it to just the ZN, it's not going to look as good. Okay. That's more like what I expected to see. Okay, but where's our little stats here? Have I just been scratching a ton? Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. So we've been scratching a little bit too much. And what is the MFE? 1.47 and 1.38. That's good, but we need to do better. And the average winner. We need to get that up to be more than 2, so we're getting there though. Anyways, journal Q. So this one.
Sale company there, Marek Spectrum. Apparently, some M&A news. China's frozen is in talks to buy commodity broker Marek Spectrum. They source.
Okay, well, rating at 24 isn't bad when I'm doing good on my 30s, so.
After negotiator sprint. See. Make and strip. Keep an eye on that.
Oh wow, look at that. I think I made a big old winner right there. He got a big one. I see these guys are all E-mini traders. This could just kind of reinforces my opinion that it's easier to trade the E-mini. Okay. well, anything else before we go? Lucas quit for the day. Yeah. I'm gonna come back for the auction because I'm not going to work today. I still feel icky. Well, I mean, I'm not. I don't want to transfer this. I might still do some work, but yeah. So have a good day. I will see you guys in about 2.5 hours. And we will trade the auction and the beige book. So later.